So, we experimented with that for well over a year without ever losing hope. You know, I was often asked if I ever thought about giving up. To be honest, I never did. You see, the trouble with other inventors is that they try a few things, but then they quit. Well, I never quit until I get what I want. I remained optimistic, and I knew with all my heart that I was headed down the right path. And that path led me to discover that that little carbonized filament needed to be enclosed within a vacuum in order to keep it from oxidizing and burning out. So what we did is we made a modified combination Sprengel-Geisler vacuum pump with which we drove out all the air from those bulbs by the use of mercury. Now, my glass blower, a gentleman named Ludwig, who works in this little shed over here, he created a variety of different bulbs for me that we tested until we finally came up with the most successful shape. Then, in October, we finally came up with a one-piece, all-glass globe that could maintain that vacuum. And then, folks, on October 21st, I tried as a filament a simple piece of cotton sewing thread, just like this. Now, we carbonized it and then bent it into sort of like a horseshoe shape and sealed it inside that glass bulb. Now, once all the air had been removed through the vacuum treatment process, I took that bulb off of the pump and I placed it on the electric current. Now, there was light, but there were many breathless moments, I can assure you, while we waited to see if it would just burn out, like so many others had thousands of times before, but it didn't. So there we were, upstairs in the lab, just beyond that window right there. My men and I just sitting there, watching that glowing light. Now, we were waiting to see how long it was going to burn, so what did we do? Well, we watched. And we watched. And we watched. And the longer it burned, the more fascinated we became. None of us even went to bed. And as the hours passed, that fascination turned into elation. And when it made it to 13 and a half hours, I realized the first practical incandescent lamp had been born. The problem was solved. Finally, a lamp was produced that had true commercial promise. So then, in November, I announced that the first public lighting demonstration would take place on New Year's Eve. I arranged for Western Union to send out 2 of their linemen to erect these wires that you see all around you here. Now, people said I was a darn fool, but I didn't pay them any mind, and I didn't waste any time worrying if they might be right. You see, as a cure for worrying, I find that hard work is far better than whiskey. It's not the hard work that kills, it's the worrying that does it. And this is what caused all that fuss. This is the carbon filament lamp from December 1879, just last month. And I find it tremendously interesting to think about what sort of developments this bulb might make in the future. If you think 100 years on, what this might look like. Who knows? Maybe in the future someone will have devised an entirely new system. Perhaps